everyone, welcome to my first ever YouTube tutorial. In this tutorial I'll be looking at creating a deep purple spotlight eye with a glistening effect in the centre. I won't be doing this skin in this first tutorial as it is my first ever, so I will be just focusing on the eyes to make it a little bit easier to digest. So I'm going to begin my look with the brows using MAC brow pencil in Spiked. This is perfect if you want a faded on ombre brow because of the consistency of it. It's ideal to blend away. Now I tend to use a clean mascara on just to push away any of the product that I want to soften down, which you'll probably see me do throughout this application. I can't stress enough how important it is to have a really light pressure when you are using this product. I find that Spiked brow pencil builds really quickly, so you can go 0 to 100 real quick with this. If you do put a heavy pressure on with the pencil, you will get a really dark brow straight away. So I always tend to use a light pressure and then fade away with my mascara wand. Now that I'm happy with the shape of the brow, I'm going to begin fading off the front of the brow using the mascara wand. Now this is to create an ombre finish or a faded look. You don't have to do this, it's just the style that I prefer in most of my looks. Using a 252 matte brush, which is a concealer brush, I'm going to begin applying Select Cover Up, which is also a matte product, which is absolutely perfect for the kind of look that I'm going for. I want something that's going to completely create a blank canvas. It's a medium to full coverage with a paste to powder finish, so that means it's very thick. I find that with looks where I want the colour to stand out a little bit more, I will go in with something that's a little bit heavier to cancel out any veins, any pinkness on the eyes and any texture. So I always advise all my students that when it comes to setting this product, the traditional way of using a buffing brush or something that's quite soft doesn't really seem to move the product around because it is so thick. So you're going to get your 252 brush and use the entire flat side of the brush, so not the tip, the side, and you're going to use soft patting motions just to press the concealer into the skin. Now I find this works really well also if you tend to get creases in your concealer on the eye. So I'm going to go in with my first product with a 228 Zoeva brush and copper tone blusher. I use a lot of blushes on the eyes because I absolutely love the colour and finish that they give. Now I'm using a 228 by Zoeva, which is a pretty big blending brush. Now this is going to grab lots of surface area at once, so it's pretty fast for me to apply this blend. Notice I always keep a clean brush in my left hand, which is my most given tip to students. This is for blending away any unwanted shape or product that I may apply. This can happen if I'm using a heavy pressure or I picked up the wrong brush with the wrong colour on. So you will see me use this technique quite a lot throughout my application, and it's just to ensure that all the blends blend into one another and they're quite seamless. And you can't see where one shadow starts and another stops. Also, I am using my hand as a palette today, but I did sanitize my hand before this application. I do usually use a metal palette, but I was working from a pretty tight space on this day and it was for speed also. I think it's safe to say that we've all been there before when you've used absolutely anything as a palette, or at the end of your shift your hand looks like an oil painting. So you can begin to see that the copper tone is starting to get a little bit more deeper and darker in appearance. This is because I've gone in with a 221 Zoeva brush instead of the 228 now. I'm doing this to build up more coverage in the socket and to pick up a little bit more product, and also be able to get into the crease a little bit more, as the 228 is quite a big brush. It's perfect for your first blend, but when I'm trying to intensify in the socket, I do need something a little bit more smaller. I'm going to switch up my brushes again now by using a 221 MAC brush with Desire Blusher and Cherry Cola Shadow by Makeup Geek. I'm going to use really small circular motions throughout the socket just to intensify this look now. Applying my lid colour now with my absolute new favourite product by NYX, which is Lid Lingerie. Now this is a little bit like a lip lacquer or a lip gloss that sets matte. It's great for something that you want to blend really easily as it glides. It has a little bit of a liquid finish to it. I have used the 227 Zoeva brush for this, and I suggest using anything that's fluffy and soft. Now we're going to take a closer look at the eyes. I'm using a 242 MAC brush to pack on Warm Note Shadow by Zoeva. I don't wait for the Lid Lingerie to set for this part. I will just go straight in with my 242 brush on my shadow and pat straight on top, as the Lid Lingerie is a perfect base for this and you don't have to wait for it to set. It will still work if you do let it dry, but I find that sometimes certain shadows won't stick to it as well as if it is just a little bit tacky or the texture's not completely set. For the next step of the application, I'll be using Peaches and Cream Pigment in Pearl, which I'm sure everyone's heard of because it's so popular at the moment and it's a great product to have in your kit. You'll also notice that I'm no longer using a brush for this product, I am using my fingers. Now, I find that when you are using something as intense as this pigment, if you do use a brush, it can tend to get a little bit congested and a little bit thick on the eyelid. Whereas if you use your finger, you can place a small amount on and push it down into what you've already done on the eyelid. Now, depending on who you are, this can be the absolutely most dreaded part of the makeup or your favourite part of the makeup. Fortunately for me, I absolutely love doing eyeliner. Now, I'm going to create a really sharp, dark finish by using a 317 Zoeva brush and Inglot Gel Liner in 77. The technique that I find really works for me is, instead of going in and doing a long sharp swipe with your brush, try to create a patting motion and apply the liner in short bursts. I find that if I do this, I avoid creating a really thick or uneven line from the get-go. In my makeup lessons and makeup appointments that I've been doing lately, I've been using Inglot Gel Liner in 77 for all of them, as I find that straight away when you put it onto the eye it's really black, as opposed to some of the other gel liners that I've been using that I find go very ashy or can turn blue once they've gone onto the eye. As you can see here with the application, I am actually only applying it a couple of times and it's really dark already. So this is perfect if you are wanting to do like a liner focus, or you're putting your liner on top of a colour that's quite intense and you need it to stand out. For this look, I want to create a really sultry and seductive eye, so I've gone in with Urban Decay Blackout Shadow and a Morphe M507 brush, and then just tickling small amounts of the shadow onto the edge of the liner. As you can see, this sticks really well to the Inglot gel liner and it creates a diffused finish. So this is also really great if you're doing a rounded look and you don't want the line to look like it just finishes. With Urban Decay Blackout Shadow, just be careful for the fallout because it is so dark. When it does land on the skin, it can be a little bit hard to get it off, so I always make sure that I do wipe up as I go along. Here's my favourite bit of the makeup. So I am using an angled 317 brush by Zoeva, and I find that if I keep the eye open I get a much more sharper and more precise shape liner. Only getting my client to close when I'm ready to fill in the line. So I'll take the longest part of my liner brush, pop it in the waterline, carry that line out, and close the eye and fill in the gap. It's also really important that you are getting your client to look straight forward when you are doing this. I find that if they look up or look down, it distorts the shape of the eye, and then you can alter the liner to suit the shape of the eye, and when they do look forward, eventually you'll realise that it's just a little bit off. I would say to all beginner artists and advanced artists who still struggle with doing liner and getting it to match up, I find that patience is key with this kind of thing, and just be patient and not panic too much, and you will get there in the end. Using the same brush, I'm now going to apply the gel liner into the waterline, ensuring that I don't use too much product because I find that it can build up and crack, and worst case scenario it will go into the model's eye and you don't want that. Now bringing the gel liner underneath the lashes on the outer corner of the eyes. I'm not going to pull this all the way across, just on the outside to create a feline finish. Carrying on the spotlight theme, I'm applying a small amount of pearl pigment into the waterline with a 212 MAC brush. This is going to be really reflective when my model looks straight forward and also create more of a two-tone finish. To create intensity underneath the eye, I'm going to go in with Coffee Pencil by MAC. Now this is going to create a base for any shadow that I'm going to use under the eye. As the pencil has a semi-creamy finish to it, it's perfect for blending out with a brush. I will use a 231 Zoeva brush with no product on, and this will become the base for any of the shadows that I will use underneath the eye. Using my 221 MAC brush because of its slimline shape, I'm going to apply Desired Blusher mixed with a little bit of Cherry Cola to set the coffee pencil. I'd also just like to add that I am actually really light with my touch. It's just that the video is really sped up. It looks like I'm being a little bit heavy-handed, but I'm not. again using my finger to apply the pearl pigment underneath the lash line, and then just to reset a tiny little bit in the waterline with my 212 MAC brush. I'm using Eldora lash in M103 as they are a multi-layered lash and perfect for this kind of look. To ensure that the products underneath the eyes blend out seamlessly, I will need to go in with some face products first. I'm using a MAC Duo Fibre Stiffening Brush to apply strobe cream directly onto the skin. I'll use soft motions, and I tend not to really use a lot of this product because I think less is more. I'm using a damp beauty blender to apply Chantilly NARS Creamy Concealer underneath the eye, and then we'll use a 227 Zoeva brush that has no product on, just to blend the concealer underneath and around the eyeshadow. I'm now going to use a 234 brush just underneath the brow bone with a tiny little bit of the pearl pigment just to catch the light when my model moves. This concludes my first ever eye makeup tutorial for YouTube. There's going to be plenty of more where this came from. If you like what you saw, please head over to my Instagram, which is caris.d.makeup, where there's also information for the courses and lessons that I run, and I look forward to hearing all your feedback. Thank you.